Oh my God. Oh my God. Do we have sound? Do we have sound now? Do we have sound? Do we have sound? Tell me. Check. 1, 2, 3. Sound. Sound. No sound. What? Okay. Yay! Hello and happy Saturday and welcome to the bum ba bum bum bum. Hello chat. Brian, HH, Casey, Tom Leach, my niggas. What's up? What's up, guys? So instead of doing a video, I was going to do a stream with my friend Travis. However, I'm not sure where he is. I sent him the link, so as soon as he's ready, he can come in and, join me. But if not, I'm going to get on with this, and I'm going to talk about Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. So I watched 3 and 4 back to back. Well, not really. I watched one on one day, the next one the next day. And since I did 1 and 2, I figured I'm going to do one about 3 and 4 together because they are pretty long and I can fucking talk forever. And I don't know why I can keep engaged for that long. And not that I care or anything, but I do a little bit. You gotta care about your audience just a tiny bit, right? I don't care about you guys. I don't care. So let's set the scene, okay? Let's set the scene for Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Holy shit, I kind of fucked this shit up, didn't I? Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is not the one with Dobby the house elf. I must have been half asleep when I wrote these little notes down. So what happens? Let's talk about some new characters. You have Sirius Black, who shows up in the third one. Now, he is poised as a criminal, somebody who escaped Azkaban, somebody who was actually on the side of Voldemort, and somebody who betrayed Harry's parents and gave up the information to Voldemort so he could find them, therefore find Harry, end up killing his parents, yada, yada, yada. As the story develops, we find out that it was never him. It was a boy named Peter Pettigrew, who, until the Marauders map, was thought to be dead, but then he was found out to be alive. And who was he? He was Scabbers. He was Ron's rat. He hid as an animagus, as a rat, as Ron's pet, and he got away with it after all these years, and he's been spying on Harry the whole time via hanging around this Ronald with him at Hogwarts. What else happened? So, remember the beginning scene? Let's start at the beginning. So, Harry gets mad because Uncle Vernon, has his sister Marge over for supper, visit, whatever. She starts talking shit about Harry's parents. Harry gets pissed off. He can't control that. He starts to blow her up. She starts blowing up. She turns into a balloon and she flies into the night. More like floats into the night because she's all blown up and shit, right? She has a mega cunt. She is a mega cunt. I don't know who you guys are talking about. Oh, I know who you're talking about. I see it now. But Marge is a mega cunt. She's not very nice to Harry. So Harry loses his shit. And then he gets in trouble because you're not supposed to fucking use magic outside of school. He grabs his shit. After all that happens, Vernon's freaking out. You fix her. And he's like, no, fuck this shit. I'm heading out. This is frustration. I relate to this shit. Yeah, I thought Dobby was in this movie. I wrote it down that he was. But I'm obviously confused because I don't know. Somebody please remind me. I have an awful memory. Where did Dobby show up in the third one? I thought he was mainly in the second one to prevent Harry from going to school. Why did he show up in the third one? Anyways, I'm going to move ahead. Harry is too good for the rules, man. He has way too much shit going on. And it's overwhelming. What is he supposed to do? He doesn't know how to contain himself when he gets angry and shit just starts happening around him. So things just happen and then he gets in shit. Luckily, in this one, he doesn't get in shit. He leaves, right? He gets his shit. He leaves. He sees this scary-ass dog, which is the animagus form of Sirius Black. That's how he escaped Azkaban, by the way. The Dementors aren't as receptive to animals, I don't believe. So they leave. Or they weren't able to catch him, sorry. And Harry's sitting on the curb with his trunk. He falls backward. He waves his wand. It looks like it's by mistake in the movie. And then bam, 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 bam. You got the night bus. The night bus shows up and takes Harry away to the Leaky Cauldron, where he's met with Cornelius Fudge and told, nah, nigga, you ain't in shit because we got a killer on the loose. And of course, that has nothing to do with you. Sarcasm, sarcasm, sarcasm. And Harry's like, all right, yeah, whatever. Meets up with Harry and Hermione. Mr. Weasley's there, gives him a warning. Guess what? Sirius Black is trying to kill you, motherfucker. And he's like, oh my God. By this year, the third time now, if I was Harry, I'd be like, yeah, they're trying to kill me. Okay, I get it. There's always people trying to kill me. All right, cool. It's okay, Casey. You're not the only one who is wrong. For some reason, in the notes that I took, I also put that Dobby was in here. So I'm not entirely sure what I was thinking myself. It was late at night when I did watch it, so it's all good. Hey, TJ, what's up? Hey, I hope you're having a good day. Now, where was I? Okay. I wish that I could do that. Like when I was living at home, like just run away from home. I told that runaway story on the last one where like my friend's mom helped me run away from home one night because I had had enough and I couldn't deal with being tied up and not allowed to do anything ever. So my friend's mom was like, don't run away. I'll come pick you up, blah, blah, blah. And it totally, that scene in the beginning of the second one where the Weasleys come to save Harry. Oh my God. It totally melted my heart because I was like, oh, I remember when I wanted to run away. Wizards have it so good, man. Like, can you imagine? You're just like, fuck this. I'm so impulsively mad. I'm leaving. And then you just wave a wand and bring. Guess what? You're going to the Leaky Cauldron. You'll probably have someone there who talks to you, who knows who you are, and who will be willing to help you. And bam. Momentarily, your problem is solved and you can stress a little bit less. And then, whoo, all right, we're going. We're going to go. We're going to go to Harry, to oh my God, Aimee. We're going to go to Hogwarts now. And then a few new characters, a few new players in the story are introduced. You have R.J. Lupin, who's the new Defense Against the Dark Arts professor. That position is so cursed, man. Every year they have somebody new. And then while they're on the train, they have a run-in with the Dementors, who were not supposed to be there. However, I think it's because they thought that Sirius Black was on the train, that they had come to the train. Oh. Is that Travis?
Yep.
Hey!
Hi!
Okay, so this is where I am right now. I was just explaining the part in the third movie where Harry and his friends are on the train and Lupin is there. He's like passed out. He has his like anti-werewolf juice sitting next to him. And then the Dementors show up and they kind of perform the kiss on Harry, but not fully, obviously. And then he hears his mother scream and then he passes the fuck out. You remember that part? Oh my God, what's happening?
Huh?
What's happening?
Not much.
Did you hear what I said there?
Yeah. It's pretty much about Harry being on the train going to Hogwarts, and the Dementors come along and they pretty much knock him unconscious.
Yes. And then you heard his mother screaming. Because Dementors make you relive your most tragic memories. Now, Hermione and Ron did not pass out because they haven't faced a tragedy as bad as Harry's. I don't think they've actually faced any kind of tragedies, have they?
No,
Not
not
to the
really.
extent. Yeah. And then they get to Hogwarts, where they're told that the Dementors are going to guard the grounds. They're going to be stationed at every entrance to Hogwarts. Everything went cold.
I found it quite interesting that the bloody Dementors are constantly after Harry. Could have been that they had picked up the scent of Voldemort from Harry because of the bloody scar. Because usually with the Horcruxes and stuff, they become tainted.
Oh yeah, because Harry's a Horcrux, isn't he?
Yep, he's the unintentional Horcrux that Voldemort created.
Yeah. Okay, there's 7 of them. So what were the 7?
Yeah.
There's Ravenclaw's crown. Harry's a Horcrux. The diary was a Horcrux. The sword, right? Godric Gryffindor's sword? No? Am I mistaken?
No. That sword wasn't the what is it again? There was a signet or ring, I think. There was a necklace.
Yeah.
That was,
Nagini. You remember
yeah,
his
Nagini
snake?
was another Horcrux.
Okay, so that was the whole thing that came out in Deathly Hallows, is that Harry was a Horcrux.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about the third one. What happens? So they go to the school. There's the warning that the Dementors will be stationed at every entrance. Lupin is the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. The Hippogriff is a big part of the story. And Buckbeak the Hippogriff. So this is where it starts. Hagrid is also a professor of, what was it? Professor of something creatures or other.
He becomes like a gamekeeper. He's a gamekeeper and becomes the can't even remember what this title was.
Care of Magical Creatures. That was
it.
Yeah. And then, okay, so this plays into the story because what happens is Harry comes and he rides the Hippogriff. Hippogriffs are very proud creatures. And what happens is Malfoy approaches the Hippogriff in a very threatening and abrasive way. And then the fucking thing kind of attacks him. And then he freaks out like a tiny little bitch. And then his father and Cornelius Fudge show up with Dumbledore at Hagrid's hut to let him know that the Hippogriff is going to be executed.
Yeah.
Right. And then the other big part of this whole movie is Harry learning to cast a Patronus.
Yeah.
So here's a weird question. Why is it that he was so affected by the Dementor that was a Boggart? You remember the Boggart? Okay, so Lupin has this, I don't even know what it is, some kind of creature or something. It assumes the shape of what you fear the most, and the way to defeat yourself from it is to laugh at it.
Like the Boggart's pretty much is kind of like a mimic.
Yeah.
Like it takes the properties of what you fear most, and it affects you, but it's not as strong as the actual real thing.
But so why is it that Harry still passed out, you remember? And he still heard his mother screaming, even though it was just the Boggart. Oh no, he stepped in the way, didn't he? Like when he was learning to cast the Patronus and the Boggart would come out of the trunk, he was still affected by it like it was a real Boggart. I mean, like it was a real Dementor.
Yeah, I think it pretty much takes up most of the qualities of the actual thing it's mimicking itself. But it's a bit weaker, but it still would do a shit ton of damage.
Okay, so I guess there's that.
Voldemort was in a movie.
Yeah, I remember you showed me that. I really didn't pick that out, but I guess that makes sense, right? Because the portrait wouldn't open. The fat lady in the Gryffindor portrait wouldn't open, and her shit was all torn up. I didn't actually know they showed that in the movie. Obviously, my attention to detail was very poor, but you showed me a screenshot of that where Voldemort is actually in the painting.
Yeah, he's in the painting right beside the fat lady who she's doing singing. He's kind of like dancing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hilarious. Like when you watch that parts, you can just see his face. He's really enjoying himself, like just wanting to be an absolute dick.
Yeah, but like what I don't understand is how was he able to appear in the paintings that way when he wasn't even in full form by this time? It was just like something they added into the movies.
Easter egg.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. Okay, it wasn't actually part of the movie. It was like foreshadowing.
I just chucked him in there for a bit of a. I just chucked him in there for the lols because people will be like asking, "Where's Voldemort? Where's Voldemort? Why isn't he in the movie? Where's Voldemort?"
So it was then actually Sirius Black who was roaming the halls of the school.
Yeah,
and he could get away.
Yeah, it was Sirius Black in the halls of school as well as Peter Pettigrew.
Oh, he was looking for Pettigrew, who was with Ronald in the Gryffindor Tower.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You know the cat Crookshanks?
Yeah.
Like it's possible that Crookshanks could be an animagus as well.
But
because like Crookshanks, Hermione's cat was interested in bloody Scabbers more than anything else. So
but it's a cat.
Yeah. Like, there was a few other animagus characters in the Harry Potter series. Sirius Black was one. I think McGonagall was one.
Yeah, she was.
She transformed into a cat.
Into a cat, a tabby cat.
Pettigrew turned into a rat. There's several others as well. So it could have been possible that the bloody cat Crookshanks could have been a secret animagus of sorts.
I don't think it was though. I don't think the cat was an actual animagus.
I'm not really certain myself, but it could possibly be that way. That's a very slight possibility. Yeah. What a cat is a freaking really intelligent mongrel of a cat.
I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't remember much of the books. I have read them a couple of times, but it's years ago. So all my knowledge is based on just the movies today.
Well, I haven't got a single novel myself. I pretty much watched the movies, which I had downloaded a while ago. I just recently finished watching, bloody, what's it again? The,
Deathly Hallows?
No, it's the fifth one.
The Prince, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
No, it's the Order of the Phoenix. After that...
Oh, is that the fifth one?
Prince.
Oh, it's Order of the Phoenix, then it's the Half-Blood Prince, then it's... Okay, Deathly Hallows. Okay. So, in this whole movie, everything is kind of topsy-turvy, right? Harry doesn't know. He finds out later in the movie that that Sirius Black is actually his godfather.
Yeah.
And then he feels personally betrayed because that's his godfather, and he thinks that it's actually him who betrayed his parents.
Yeah, he was led to believe that it was Sirius Black who betrayed his parents. In reality, it was Peter Pettigrew.
And then the reason that they found out that Peter Pettigrew was still alive is because George... What's the other brother's name? One of the Weasley twins gave Harry the Marauders map because he didn't get his permission form signed to be able to go to Hogsmeade with everybody. Yeah. So he took his cloak, he took that map, he ended up there, and he went to some pub that I think McGonagall and Lupin and someone else were going in, and Madame Rosmerta was talking to them about how Sirius Black was the one who betrayed his parents. So the whole time, they were looking for the wrong person.
Yeah, they believed the wrong person as well because, well, they found that Pettigrew was just one digit. And that was one of his fingers, like his fingertips. They didn't realize it was actually him until Sirius pointed out.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, isn't it quite strange for a rat to be like to have a lifespan over 12 years? Isn't it odd about that?
Rats,
Isn't it
yeah, they don't have a
odd?
very long lifespan.
Like he was like pointing it out, like, isn't it odd that it's missing a digit, an exact location where Peter Pettigrew lost his?
But you would never know because he spent his whole entire time, all those years, as that rat. Unless he escaped at night or something. Because remember the dream that Harry had? Was that the third one? No, that was the fourth one. Sorry. That was the fourth one where he had the dream about the graveyard. But before
That
that
was beginning on the fourth one.
yeah, but before that, that rat stayed a rat for many years.
Yeah.
So maybe they just thought it was like a magical thing and they're like, eh, whatever. Of course, the rat lives for a long time.
If only the Weasleys would have noticed something was fucking weird of a rat, because rats don't generally live for 12 years, only usually last for up to 4 to 5 years. And that depends on its breed, the way you look after it, its health conditions and everything. It all depends on that.
Mm-hmm.
Might be barely pushing the 5-year mark.
Okay, so here's my question for you. What was your favorite part of the third movie?
That is a good question. I reckon the part when Harry learned that it was him who actually cast the Patronus spell, that's a big fucking thing that got rid of like more than 100 Dementors.
Mm-hmm.
I get something he's like, oh shit, it was me after all done it.
That was the best. And it was interesting, right? Because at first he thought it was his father. And then when he was actually on the other side and he saw himself because they used the time turner, that was the one with the time turner too, right? He realized that it was him. So his Patronus also takes the same form as his mother's? That's a stag, right?
Yeah, I think it was a stag or was a doe. I can't entirely remember, but Snape's was the doe, or I think Harry's was a stag.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why Severus's was a doe is because he loved
Lily.
Yeah, he loved her a lot. She was one of the very few people that treated him like an actual person.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the Dementors was your favorite part. Can we just talk about how disappointing that werewolf was, by the way, that Lupin transformed into? What the fuck was that?
Well, that looks like one of the most interesting forms of wolf, because usually it's a fucking shitty, like CGI, whatever you want to call it. Like that version of the werewolf looked like something that could possibly happen or could possibly exist.
I don't know. I didn't like it. I thought that they should have beefed it up. They changed it, didn't they, in the later movies? Because Lupin shows up again, and it doesn't look the same.
They could have bulked him up a bit more, but it could be that his mental state was wrong. He was in the wrong mental state. It's probably why his werewolf form looked emaciated.
Oh, that's true too, because he was pretty sick. I didn't like that. That's my biggest complaint. I think my favorite part in the movie, one of my favorite scenes is definitely when Harry is flying the hippogriff. That looked so fun. And I also really liked how they used the time turner and they ended up saving Sirius and the hippogriff both at the same time.
Yeah.
What do you think about the new Dumbledore?
I pretty much had noticed that the Dumbledore was different from the previous one, because in the first one, the Philosopher's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets, the original Dumbledore had died of old age, so the new chap was put in to take his position, and he kept the role up until the end. Didn't really notice the difference between the two.
You really
characters.
didn't?
No, I couldn't really notice much of a difference.
Oh my god, there was a huge difference. I felt like the original Dumbledore embodied more of what Dumbledore was supposed to be like. Like, he seemed very wise and like powerful, and his robes were thicker and heavier, and he moved a little bit slowly because he is actually an old wizard in the books too. But this new Dumbledore they got, he was so hyper and like, I mean,
Had
he
more
didn't do
energy to
bad.
him.
He looked fine, but I just thought he was a little bit too temperamental to be Dumbledore. Maybe I'm just too critical about it.
Well, it could be that the stress has been getting to him a great deal because he found out that his favorite students is still alive and has been causing shit for school, fucking around with his reputation, putting his students in grave danger and all sorts of shit like that, and and a bunch of misfit students are fucking doing all sorts of crazy shit in his behalf, and he's not really that impressed. Now he's got to rely on children for incredibly dangerous missions and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, but I don't know. You've read the books too, right?
I've only read up to the third one, and that was fucking 15 years ago, I think.
Oh my god, is it really that old, the books?
I think so. I don't really know. 15, 14, 13 years ago, maybe. I can't entirely remember.
Okay. And then there was another weird thing that happened in the third movie too. So there's this new class that they're taking. It's called Divination with Professor Trelawney. And like one of the scenes, I think it's either in the middle or closer to the end of the movie, she utters a prophecy. This is the prophecy that they later look for when they go to the Ministry of Magic. Do you remember? Where she's like, oh, the Dark Lord shall rise again. And basically, he's going to look for Harry, and he needs Harry in order to come back or whatever.
Yeah, it was like foreshadowing the fourth movie. It's basically foreshadowing the ending scene of ending sequences of the bloody was it again? What is the movie called?
Oh, the Goblet of Fire.
Yeah. That's it. The Goblet of Fire. It's like foreshadowing that sequence. Because like I was watching, I was like, "What the hell? What the heck is he talking about?" And I watched the Goblet of Fire. I was like, "Oh, so that's what she was talking about."
So we can jump right into the fourth one too, if we want, because obviously it leads right into it. There was let's see. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire starts with Harry having a dream of Voldemort, who he didn't know as Barty Crouch Jr., and Peter Pettigrew. And they're in that house with that old-ass muggle caretaker.
Yeah, the poor old chap got killed by the killing curse.
Yeah.
Because he went into the old house at the wrong time. He was making up a pot of tea, and he noticed the bloody light sign. I was like, what the fuck? Okay, great. Children. Trying to set him off. So the poor bastard goes up to the old castle, they call it, and Nagini says something. Voldemort notices, and Wormtail or not gets in the way, and Voldemort just kills the poor bastard outright.
And then what? They're waking up, and they're getting their shit together to go to the Quidditch World Cup. Now, this is where you see one of the other big players in this story, which is Cedric Diggory, who is also one of the competitors or champions in the Triwizard Tournament.
Yep.
You don't know in the movie, but so there is also a new professor of the Defense Against the Dark Arts, and that is Professor Moody, who isn't actually Professor Moody, who is actually
Crouch Jr.
Exactly, and he's been taking Polyjuice Potion, which is also something that's mentioned because Snape kind of accuses Harry about stealing from his stores when he wasn't, because they brewed Polyjuice Potion in the second one.
Yeah.
And then what else is happening? So you also meet, in that first scene, you meet Victor Crumb, who is the Durmstrang champion. You see this like weird scene with what's his name? Draco Malfoy's father.
Lucius.
Yes, Lucius Malfoy. talking shit, making fun. And like it's also weird, right? Because you know he's a Death Eater, so he gets called later on, and I kind of like him as an actor. I think he's great.
Yeah, he's quite a badass looking bloke.
Mm-hmm. Hey Corbin, I see you in the chat. There's some new love interests, so the whole Victor Crumb and Hermione thing, and so here's a really cute thing that they included in the movie. You probably think it's gay, but I liked it. Ron is being such a fucking little bitch in this movie because he cannot handle the fact that he likes Hermione and he won't admit it to himself. So instead, he just like super passive aggressive towards her and kind of a dick, especially after he finds out that Victor Crumb asked her to the Yule Ball. So the Triwizard Tournament is being held at Hogwarts, this 4th year of Harry's education at Hogwarts. And this includes some really fucked up activities. They have to fight a dragon. They have to save a loved one from underneath the Black Lake. And what was the third one? The third one was the maze, wasn't it? That was the big maze. And the maze scene is a lot more detailed than I think the movie was able to give it credit for. You didn't read the book though, right? So
no, I didn't get the chance to read the novel.
Okay, so in the book, there is way more that happens in the maze portion of the competition than they show in the movie. They did all right. They had to do what they could for sake of brevity. But there's that. And like what ends up happening in the movie is the cup is a port key that goes right to the graveyard, which was actually put in there by Mad-Eye Moody, who is Barty Crouch Jr. He is helping Harry throughout the movie, which is a very cunning thing he does in the book as the character too, because it helps Harry build trust with him. So he starts to think that he's like legit, and he's like, all right, whatever. And so Harry makes it to the end and ends up meeting Voldemort and helps to bring him back to life. And then you have like this epic fucking battle scene where their wands connect, because both of their wands are made from the same tail feather.
Yep.
It was very interesting that he got that wand to begin with, because I remember Mr. Ollivander was like, the other person who owns this wand has done terrible things, or
and he's
has
the
done
one
great
that gave
things.
the scar.
Yes. Yeah. He mentioned that as well. Hold on. It always boggled my mind why in year 4, their defense against the dark arts teacher teaches a bunch of horned up 14-year-olds how to use their wand to murder, torture, and mind control other people. He doesn't really teach them how to do it. Not in the movie anyway, and we're mainly going to discuss the movie, but he shows them, what was it? The Cruciatus Curse, the Imperious Curse, and the Killing Curse of Avada right? He wants to show them. It's more to, I feel like it was more to kind of freak them out. Like, he is kind of crazy. He's known to be a little unhinged. He is an Auror, which is a catcher of dark wizards, like the actual guy. So, I mean, it's not that weird. And he was like, considering the current context surrounding what's happening, like, you know, Voldemort might be back, or like there's some crazy shit popping off. I'm just going to show you what these curses look like. And there's a scene where he totally freaks out Neville Longbottom. He's using this like really fucked up spider. The thing is gross, whatever that is. It's like some weird wizard spider that has like crab claws.
It's a whip spider.
Okay, a whip spider?
Yeah, I think so. It's one of those ancient forms of arachnids that were around back in the Carboniferous period, I think.
Oh, that was a real thing?
Yeah, it's still around.
Oh, okay.
It's not a rare creature, though.
Corbin said the same thing. It's a whip scorpion. Thanks, Corbin. So, so he's like performing these curses on this whip scorpion in front of all these kids. And then he goes right to Neville and he's like, hey, Neville, why don't you tell me one of the curses? And then the curse that he gave an example of was actually the curse that Voldemort used on his parents and pretty much killed them.
The Crucio curse, I think. There's a Crucio.
Crucio, Imperio, and then Avada Kedavra, which is the king one. he does that, freaks him out. And then he kind of like talks to Neville afterwards. He's like, yeah, come have a tea. He gives him a bunch of herbology books. Incidentally, herbology books that are going to help Harry with his future champion tasks in the Triwizard Tournament.
Yeah, especially on the Gilliwig.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the gillyweed, yeah. That was really fucked up. Like there was an age line drawn around the cup, and that cup has a binding contract. So once Harry's name flew out of it, he had no choice. He had to perform in the Triwizard Tournament.
Yeah.
And he was terrified. Like, he was, what, 14 years old? Okay, you're 14 years old. And of course, he has the worst luck. So he's going to be the one to fight the Hungarian Horntail, which Hagrid actually showed him his first task, which was the dragon, which is the most aggressive dragon of all the ones that they have there.
It's like the poor prick couldn't catch himself a fucking break. Year after year, Harry's thrown into all sorts of really dangerous shit, and he's probably thinking, oh, great, what am I going to get now? What am I going to get? And he gets a dragon, it's like, oh, shit.
Yep. And like the other thing was that he was having a rough year because his friends, like Ron, was pissed off at him because his name was in the fucking goblet. Everybody was like, what the fuck? So Hogwarts had 2 champions. Obviously, the other people from the other schools were pissed off too, because that gives Hogwarts 2 chances to win, and everybody else just has 1.
Like, I had thought it was the bloody Igor Karkaroff character that puts Harry's name into the Goblet of Fire until near the end of the movie you find out was actually Barty Crouch Jr. that done it. I was like, what the fuck?
But they do a good job of making it look like it would be him, because there was a scene where he like they show his face, he like closes the doors and he looks really evil as he's entering the Great Hall and he's like walking in there, right? So it was very strange that they do that switch up in the movies. So you think it's Igor Karkaroff, who is supposed to be a Death Eater or was a Death Eater, and apparently isn't anymore.
Yeah, he shows his forearm, and he pretty much says, I'm as much of a Death Eater as you are, or was it Dumbledore? Dumbledore said it. I think it was before or just before or after the Harry finding the strange wolf thing that shows the memories and stuff.
Oh, the pensieve.
Yeah, that thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. So in the books and also in this, it's weird how they kind of introduced the pensieve out of nowhere, but like in the books, there was a point where they kind of had to explain, and they explained that Dumbledore from a series of years has just been like taking all his memories and stuff out that he feels are connected to all the things that are happening, and he keeps just putting them into this pensieve. And then Harry comes to talk to Dumbledore after everything had happened, because Cornelius Fudge was in his office and he was telling him, like, I'm not going to fucking cancel the Triwizard Tournament. I'm not going to look like a coward. And Harry wanted to just talk to Dumbledore and be like, listen, nigga, I didn't put my name in the goblet. And they found that they opened the door. Cornelius Fudge leaves. Dumbledore leaves. And as he's gone, Harry looks at this thing. For some reason, it just magically opens. And he's like, huh, what's this? And then he falls into this memory where Barty Crouch has Igor Karkaroff. Like, he's the one who's being questioned at the time. And they're like, I have a name of one more person who I know is a Death Eater. And he says Barty Crouch Jr. Barty Crouch Jr. is actually in there. He gets arrested. And then you remember how like Moody does that weird tongue thing?
Yeah.
Right? So that's another reason, that's another clue that they give you, so you know that, like, okay, this guy's drinking Polyjuice Potion. He's doing the tongue thing. Now they've shown Barty Crouch and he's doing the tongue thing. And then he falls out of it. He falls out of the memory. And Crouch also kills Barty. Crouch Jr. also kills Barty Crouch in this movie. So I think it was after the second task, they were all like, oh shit, hey Harry, good job, that's great. And they had a weird interaction where Barty Crouch was looking at Moody, and Moody did that tongue thing. And then he was like, huh, this is interesting. And then a few minutes later, Barty Crouch is dead because Moody or Barty Crouch Jr. had killed him.
Did he really die, or was he knocked unconscious?
No, he was dead. He was killed.
Shit.
Yeah, he killed him because it upset Barty Crouch to put his son in Azkaban. And at the end, you remember in that memory when Barty Crouch Jr. was like, I'm your son. And Crouch was like, you're no son of mine.
Yeah.
And then he sent him off to Azkaban. So he was like a little bit, oh my God. He was a little bit pissed off, obviously resentful that his father fucking kicked him out and disowned him pretty much. But I mean, who the fuck wouldn't? You are dancing with the Dark Lord, motherfucker. You're on the wrong side. You're on the wrong side. That I like the fourth movie. I thought it was really exciting. I actually really, really need to see 5, 6, and 7. So after I do that, I'm gonna have to do this again probably. But what's your favorite in the fourth movie?
The best part, I think, was the fight between Voldemort and Harry. That was quite interesting because Voldemort had the absolute intention of killing Harry after he was revived to his full health, revived to his full form, and he could even kill him. And Harry's parents showed up, another person showed up, Cedric showed up again, begging Harry to bring his body back so his father could bury him.
That was heart-wrenching when he returned back with Cedric's dead body and like everyone's cheering and then they see what's happening and they're like, oh.
Yeah, okay. Cho was one of the first characters actually knew something was fucked up.
Yeah.
You could hear her screaming. You could hear her screaming in shock.
Yeah, I don't think that would ever be a fun thing to see any classmate come back dead. You know, you don't expect it. Even though it was warned that these competitions are not for the faint of heart. Like people have died doing these things. But
like that isn't thing that should be expected, but not to have somebody fucking murdered by the darkest wizard of all time.
Yeah, exactly. That definitely made it way worse. And like the Ministry of Magic wanted to cover it up, and they were telling Dumbledore, "Yeah, don't tell anybody that it's Voldemort." But I like how Dumbledore was like, "No, fuck you. I'm gonna tell everybody that it was Voldemort because everybody deserves to know. It would be an insult to Cedric's memory."
Indeed.
Yeah, so I like the fight scene at the end a lot too. I thought it was really, there were some things that threw it off for me. So I like how you're talking positive. I'm like meh, 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 meh. So the wand connecting was really awesome. I did love that. What I found a little weird though is that why did it look like there was liquid spewing from that connection, right? Like after the spirits and shit came out, it was like, okay, whatever. It's all the people that Voldemort has killed with this wand. And that's cool. That scene, that part of the scene was great. But like the actual connection part where there was just like some weird foam substance coming out of the spilling or of the connection, that was a bit strange to me. Still love that scene though. The other one that was weird is when as soon as Voldemort was back and like he became like the cauldron became his fucking robes and shit. You remember when Harry was like pinned behind Voldemort's father in his gravestone, right? With the big thing of death. You remember when he's like, I can touch you, Harry. It was so fucking weird when he was like, like it just totally threw it off.
He pressed his fingers up against Harry's forehead, like, now I can kill you.
Yeah, it was.
And then he tries to kill him as one, and he's like, oh fuck. Now I remember I can't kill this kid. It's fucking wand. So how am I supposed to kill him with a wand?
Yeah, it was so fucking weird, that one scene. I get it, but like even the acting was a little bit weird. I totally forgot to mention like, okay, so the whole Quidditch scene happened in the beginning. Obviously, we're going to jump all over the place, but the Quidditch World Cup was over and everybody was screaming and freaking out. And the first sign that he was going to come back, which is the reason that everybody freaked out, was because the dark mark was in the sky. his
the
like
skull
skull
with
with the
the
snake.
serpent.
Yes, with the serpent, right. So everybody's freaking out. That is actually the first time you see Barty Crouch. So Harry was running in the crowd. He fell over. He got kicked in the face. He was unconscious. By the time you find Harry again, he's laying there. It's dark. Everybody has cleared the area and it's like a fucking desolate wasteland. Everything is burned and just fucking gone to shit. And then Hermione and Ron are looking for Harry, obviously. And then he kind of wakes up and like randomly, as soon as Hermione's like, Harry, that's his mark. That's the dark mark. He starts like, ugh, ugh, ugh. So like that acting was a little bit strange, I thought.
Yeah, it was quite weird. Like he was just like, oh shit, now I feel it now. I see the mark up in the sky. It's like, why couldn't he feel it earlier?
Yeah, exactly. It was really strange how they did that, but I get it. Like to get the point across what happened. And then let me see who else was introduced. I know there's some new characters in this one.
Cho Chang, Fred Delacour.
Oh, so Cho Chang. Cho Chang is a girl that is with Cedric, but Harry fancies her. So there's like a couple scenes that you see where he's like trying to talk to her, like he's trying to say hi to her and he gets all awkward. And I feel like I remember what that's like when you see a boy that you like and then you just get so weird and you don't know how to deal with it. Or he's like, he has a girlfriend and you're like, no. But you ask anyway, or you like go talk to them anyway, even though you know it's not going to go anywhere. Because that's what happened when she went up to the owlery to send a letter, and he was also there. He asked her to go to the Yule Ball, and she's like, "Oh, I can't. I'm already going with Cedric," or whatever the fuck she said. And he was like, "No."
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, I really am. I'm really sorry. Like, why couldn't Harry just fucking ask at Ginny? Because she obviously had a crush on him. It's like, he could have asked her out.
He wasn't very receptive to Ginny until later in the story.
Yeah.
Right. Like even in the Chamber of Secrets, he did save her and stuff or whatever, but like he didn't like her, I think, until the 5th or the 6th one, like in the movies.
Yeah.
So there was that. And then there was a whole like drama that was starting to unfold with Ron and Hermione because he was being such a sour bitch because he hadn't asked her to the ball. And then he's like, well, Hermione, you're a girl. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, why don't you come with me? I'm sure no one's asked you. Pretty much like he's super passive aggressive because he's like young, insecure, and retarded, and he can't like deal with his feelings that he likes her. And she's going with Victor Crumb, who had asked her. Yeah. And like it was such a big deal when they saw her because she looks so pretty, right? They changed her look. Like she was more true to the books in the first and second movie where her hair was like frizzy and puffy and shit. But like they kind of modernized her in the later movies because it was supposed to be a big deal that she looked totally amazing when she was all ready and stuff. Yeah, Tom's right. He totally negs her. Which is kind of an annoying tactic to try and get a girl. It's super annoying. I don't know why we put up with that shit. I don't understand. But okay, let's see. So interesting friends are made. Cedric. So the first task, Harry is made aware of it. He meets up with Hagrid. He goes and sees that there's a dragon waiting for him. And all right, cool. And then he goes and tells Cedric about it. Yeah, that's true. He is 14. He goes and tips off Cedric. And like the whole school is pretty much wearing badges that say Potter stinks, Potter sucks.
That's really quite funny.
Yeah, it was funny. But like, can you imagine being someone that like whole school is like, fuck this guy, fuck you. Like he never wanted this fate. He never wanted to be this famous wizard. He has the total opposite problem that he does in like his muggle life where he's just a nobody. And then he comes to the wizarding world and he's this super famous, like everybody knows him because he survived that Voldemort attack. And like he's actually a pretty fucking good wizard, and I think people just resent him and are jealous and stuff, and like they're like giving him shit for trying to talk to
really like I found it really funny, like when Fred and George both tried to put their names into a cup by making up potions and make them older than they are. So they get into the circle area to put the names into the cup, and it backfires and turns into old fucking grandpas.
Yeah.
And they start bickering and fighting each other. It's fucking hilarious.
That was really funny. I enjoyed that. They think they're so clever because their idea is so pathetically dim-witted that Dumbledore wouldn't have thought of it. So they like pass the age line.
Genius.
Yeah, exactly. So they pass the age line, they get in there, they put their names in, and like 3 seconds later, the cup gets really angry, spits it back at them, and then like they get pushed out by the age line, and then they start getting all that silver hair and the grandpa beard and shit. Oh my god, it's fucking fantastic. That was really funny.
It was kind of like that. Fuck that bitch. Seemed like that song. Fuck that bitch.
Mm-hmm.
It was like good old Dumbledore was playing that prank on the other students that wanted to break the rules by aging themselves prematurely. It's like a very good prank.
Bring. Who else do we see in here? Okay, so Harry goes through the maze with Cedric. They both take the port key. They end up in the graveyard. We talked about that whole scene. He brings the body back, yada, yada, yada. And at the end, I love how, I think it was either at the end of the third, no, it was the fourth one. Everything is going to change, isn't it? Bitch, everything's been changing every fucking year since Harry has been at school. It just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, like, can you think the Mad-Eye Moody guy really is Mad-Eye Moody, but then when he runs out of apology potions, he starts acting all fucking weird. And they start changing back, and Dumbledore goes into the office and is like, okay, who the fuck are you? And Severus Snape comes in and forces quote-unquote Mad-Eye Moody to take the apologies, take the potion, the serum thing, I call it, to make him tell the truth.
Oh, Veritas serum.
The real guy, Mad-Eye Moody, is in a fucking big-ass trunk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that kept going like, ka-chink, ka-chink. It just kept like expanding. The lid kept, it was like lid within a lid within a lid, like a trunk within a trunk. And he's like, you look down there and he's like way down there. And you're like, what the fuck, man?
And I was like, Alistair, are you all right? He's like, yeah, I'm all right. Could you get me the fuck out of this thing?
Yeah. What are these parent standards for school safety? And when they pull their kids out of school, obviously they have to like let go of some of their muggle standards, right? Because in wizarding school, you can just die. You can just die anytime.
Yeah, no matter how smart you are, you could fuck up and die in worst ways possible.
Yeah, but apparently for these parents, it's like a really big deal. You know what I mean? Like when parents receive the Hogwarts letter for their children, it's like it's something to be like respected, and it's a big deal. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not a muggle.
Passage.
Yeah, exactly.
Passage or something.
And I'm not a wizarding parent, so I don't really know. To be honest, who the fuck wants a kid that can do magic and shit? I mean, that's true, especially if the parents aren't doing magic. Why the fuck would you want kids who could do magic? They can't do it outside of school, or they'll get in trouble. But, like, then where can you do magic? Because I imagine that adult wizards live amongst other adults, right?
Yeah.
So that's really fucking weird. Might be late for Christmas dinner, Mom. Dark Lord laying siege to our school. I mean, luckily, Harry didn't have... Luckily, that sounds awful. Harry didn't really have any parents he needed to worry about. He just kind of needed to handle the business of actually killing Dumbledore. Killing Voldemort. And yeah, the little cunts could incinerate you in a moment of anger. Especially if you're someone like Harry who's like super powerful, and if he just gets angry, he blows up his fucking aunt,
That was
turns her into a
hilarious.
balloon. What are you supposed to do about that? How do you even fix that? How did he even learn to control that shit? Didn't he? He didn't learn to control that, did he? I don't know if anything else like that happened after the third movie or book where he just got really angry and some shit happened. But what did start happening is he started getting more and more visions, and Voldemort had recognized that because like Voldemort had recognized at some point that Harry was a Horcrux and was able to read his thoughts or his mind a little bit. So he started putting the wrong thoughts in Harry's head so that
Well, I
Harry was
don't think Voldemort knew at the time that Harry was a Horcrux.
no.
He and Harry had similar mindset because Harry's blood was used to bring him back.
Hmm. But they had a connection anyway because he turned him into a Horcrux without
Yeah,
knowing.
yeah,
So,
unintentionally.
yeah. So if you get into the books a little bit deeper, and you've probably seen all the movies, remember in the Half Blood Prince that Snape is trying to teach him to concentrate so he can push Voldemort out of his mind if he feels that he's in there?
Now that was the fuck. What is the movie
It
gonna
was the
go?
Half Blood Prince, wasn't it?
No, it
Snape
was the
is.
Order of the Phoenix.
Is that the one?
Yeah, Order of Phoenix.
Oh, it was the okay. It was the Order of. Okay, I'm confusing the last two. I definitely or the
Yeah,
last few.
Snape was trying to get into Harry's mind, and Harry had to try and force him out so he could be able to do something against Voldemort.
Mm-hmm.
What he had apparently learned was his father and his father's friends had treated that poor bastard Snape like shit, and so that's why Snape didn't really like Harry that much.
Right. Yeah, he didn't. Horcrux would make a great whorehouse name. I'm sure there are prostitutes in the Harry Potter world, Lance. This is a fellow Australian, by the way, Travis. I'm sure you know Lance is, right?
Lance is Australian.
Yeah, mate. Did you
I had
know?
no idea.
Oh, yeah. Crikey. He is. he is. He's one of your kind. Um, are these magic whores? I mean, that would be pretty cool if they were, if they could just use some kind of magic power and you could turn them up, like the speed or the whatever. West Aussie represent. Where are you at? Like, what part of Australia are you in? It's really huge from what I hear.
Yeah, I live in North Queensland.
Okay. How far? Like, oh my God, I don't know.
I live in Townsville. It's like 350 kilometers south of Cairns. So where I'm at, it's pretty much right up against the coastline, it's right on the beach. Townsville's a nice place. It's rather quiet, except for the fact we've got a fuck ton of criminals here.
Yeah. Okay, that doesn't sound very good. How far are you in relation to Devon? Do you know where Devon's in like Melbourne, right?
Yeah, Devon lives in Melbourne. I think like a couple of thousand kilometers north from where he's at.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're really far. You guys are like in different time zones too, right? There's like 6 time zones.
Yeah, I don't exactly know what time zone Devon's in, but I'm in the AEST time zone.
Okay.
I think it's Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it all varies between a matter of minutes to an hour and a half at most. I guess it all depends on how far south you're living at.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I have no conception of the size of Australia. I mean, I try to picture.
It's a massive continent.
Yeah, I try to picture it, but then like I just get my mind gets blown by the fact that there's 6 different time zones in one country. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? I don't understand.
Like Australia is a continent, it's about the same size, or even probably larger than the United States of America.
Okay, it's bigger than the States.
Yeah, it's bigger than the States.
Yeah, I should get a fucking. This
by
is
the
what
way,
I need to do.
Yeah, like the way the atlases show the size comparison to the countries, continents, and whatnot, it's it's the wrong scale. because Australia is quite a large place.
Okay, so things to do. I want to get a large poster of a world map that has all the cities and the countries that I can put on my wall and take a look at. So I'm seeing it often enough that I remember some places because my geography knowledge is very pathetic. It's really shit. I shit you not. Devin asked me, he said, name 6 cities in South America. And I said, Peru. And he said, Peru's not a city. And I said,
It's a country.
yeah. And I said, I don't know anything. That was a real conversation. It was like 4 a.m. for me. And like, he went quiet for a minute. And then like a few minutes later, he's like, did I just live through an SNL skit? Like, what just happened? It was so, I'm very ignorant when it comes to matters of geography. And I need to learn. I definitely need to learn. And I have family in Australia, which is also very weird too. I don't really talk to them because I don't really talk to my family, but 2 of my mother's sisters live in Australia, and I don't even know where. And I kind of wish I did talk to them because I could fly there and have a place to stay, which would be pretty sweet. Canada is bigger by a country mile. Yeah, but Canada is also bigger than the States. Canada's huge. It actually goes quite close to the North Pole. We own a lot of ice and shit.
Basically, unwanted land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't live up there. You can't really do anything up there. It's just crazy people who like make a living doing some extreme shit up there. I would never want to live up there. Who the fuck would want to? It's so cold. You can't do that. A kilometer is just a mile that has been held down and fucked in the mouth until it turned gay. Okay, first of all you fucking fags who use imperial, go fuck yourselves, which is just America, who refuses to conform to the rest of the civilized world, who uses the metric system.
Yeah, the imperial system is really confusing. Because, like, a mile is just basically 1.6 kilometers is 1,600 meters.
1,600 meters is a mile?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to remember that. Oh my god, can somebody tell me what a BBW is? I don't even...
Big black kilometer, something like
That's
that.
That's what I thought it was, but somebody told me I was wrong. That was my guess. All you American fags. What free protection? I guess you're kind of right. I guess there is free protection. Canada ain't doing shit. That's for sure.
What the fuck is a yard?
They use yards in football. American football. That's the only place that I've heard yards be used. Or when measuring fabric. Yards of fabric.
Isn't the imperial equivalent to a meter?
So 3 feet. A yard is 3 feet. Which is what? Is that a meter? What is that in metric?
3 feet is 90 centimeters.
90 centimeters?
Yeah.
How does that make sense?
It's around 90 centimeters, just a little over.
Oh, because there's 30 centimeters in a foot. Oh, okay, I understand. Something like that. A meter is just a yard that has been held down and... Oh my god, stop it, Dan!
You little bitch, Dan.
Trying to fuck around now. Kumite. Let's get on the Kumite. Okay, have we exhausted this topic of Harry Potter today?
I want to talk about the later movies and something like that.
What later movies? You tell me about the later movies. You mean like Deathly Hallows and stuff? Because I haven't seen anything past OG Harry Potter. Oh my god. Just hold on 1 second.
Major Dixon in. Kiki, where are you?
Oh my gosh, sorry about that. I have a friend who's gonna stop by in like 15 minutes, so.
Is it beautiful?
Yeah. Are you talking to Tiki?
Yeah, she's my sweetie.
Aw. What kind of cat is it?
Yeah,
Tabby?
she's a purebred Australian mist.
What does that look like? I don't even know. You gotta send me a picture.
I sent a couple of photos to you. That cat I've been sending photos to you of.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's Tiki.
Okay, wait. Do I have? Hold on, let me see.
I could send you
Um,
another photo of her.
yeah, send me another. I'm gonna look up and check.
Okay, camera, JPEG. Come on, you slow bastard. Come on,
Okay.
come on.
I
Oh yeah,
agree. Actually, hi Ben, the acting in the later movies, I felt like when shit started to get real, the acting was a little bit weird. Like, not so much from the kids because I think they were younger and like I think it was their first go at acting. Like they're very inexperienced at the time in comparison to like an Alan Rickman or a Richard Harris or some of the people you had in that movie. Um, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just really biased, but I really fucking enjoyed Deathly Hollows a lot. Um, it was just the darkest part. I like how like there was just so much happening and there were so many moments where you were just like, "Oh my God, my heart is going to explode. I don't even know how to deal with this."
yeah. Like what
Yeah.
makes Severus Snape's death a lot more tragic is that Alan Rickman died as well.
Yeah, yeah, I
He was a
agree.
brilliant actor, that guy. It's a real damn shame that he passed.
It was, I agree. And he was such a good Severus Snape.
Yeah,
And I'm glad this is going to sound a little bit selfish, but I'm glad that he made it through the movies. Like, I'm super upset that Richard Harris, the original Dumbledore, did not. I thought he was the best Dumbledore out of the two. But yeah, Alan Rickman was such a good Snape. And the reason that he's super important too is because Snape becomes quite a huge part of the story. I mean, he seems more of like a bully, right? Like just someone who's there to antagonize Harry and make his life hard. But like as the story continues and you find out more about his history and how much he loved Lily Potter and how much he was actually looking out for Harry and trying to take care of him and stuff, like
yeah. Find him to
it's
be more of a tragic character.
yes, exactly. I loved his like how they developed him through the books and you just think of him one way, but then there's a plot twist and you're like, "Oh, I actually really like Snape." This is a weird feeling.
Yeah, I'll give you watch the movies over again, like from the very first one to the latest, and watch it over again. You realize how Severus was trying his best to protect Harry while
Mhm.
trying not to overtly show it.
Mhm.
Otherwise, Harry would have been targeted even worse,
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
since Lucius was also a fellow Death Eater as well.
Yep.
Like, the thing I couldn't understand about Voldemort is after he was defeated initially,
Mhm.
like after he was initially defeated and gave Harry a scar, and like how he had managed to attach himself to Quirrell's head, like how he attached to the back of Professor Quirrell's skull,
Yeah, that was weird,
and
hey?
and to not even be noticed for quite a while. Like
Mhm.
after Quirrell got killed off by Harry, he somehow became a member in a book. Like he probably kept on living through the Horcruxes and whatnot until he eventually came back into a form that sort of resembled that of a malformed youth.
Well, I think that the whole point of the Horcruxes is because it's a part of his soul, it's a living part of the actual person,
Yeah,
which is
like
why
he,
which is why like Tom Marvolo Riddle was alive as the while the diary existed. And
yeah,
then you had was Quirrell wasn't a Horcrux though, was he?
the
He was
who?
just Quirrell, Professor Quirrell. He was just a fucking um like a professor or whatever that he kind of like used the body to live off of.
Like I don't even know how the hell Quirrell even got his solar plasma to begin with. It'd be quite interesting to find out how it actually happened.
Yeah,
Because
I'm definitely
there's
gonna need to read the books again. Um, I think I'm gonna do like a bedtime stories thing that I've been doing.
I don't know whether they covered a topic or what, not like just never brought up of how on earth Quirrell came across Voldemort's soul and how Voldemort came to live off him.
Mm-hmm.
That just never came around.
I don't actually remember.
Even to this day, I have no freaking idea how on earth he managed to feed off him.
Yeah, but he could control people, right? Voldemort was able to control, well, I don't know, based on his weakness. Again, I think I have to read it a little bit. Like I said, all my knowledge is very much based on just the movies right now. I haven't read the books in quite some time. So that's something I'm going to have to do. The intricacies are explained in the book, but I don't even know if that particular thing was. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I think one of the possible reasons why Harry was hated by the Dursleys was because he was the Horcrux. The Horcrux is basically a tainted object, which is the fragmented part of somebody's soul. And since Voldemort was incredibly dark, twisted, and fucked up, he imprinted himself into Harry's mind, and it could have fucked with the minds of the Dursleys.
That's
it could have
possible.
caused them to hate him.
That's possible. I never thought about that, but there was also the resentment that Petunia had towards Harry anyways, because her sister went to wizarding school and her parents were so happy and she never got a letter and she was just a fucking muggle.
Right? I think the Voldemort's influences could have perturbed and made it worse. Like, could have had jealousy turn into hatred or spitefulness.
Yeah, I never thought about that. It does affect things around it though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then there was, oh my God, I want to watch The Order of the Phoenix, and I need to watch all the other ones because I can't really talk about them because I haven't seen them in quite some time. I always find that every time I rewatch those movies, because I'm a little bit older, I experience them differently. You know what I mean? Like,
I'd spent the entirety of last night watching a couple of the Harry Potter movies. Finished watching the Prison of Azkaban. Watched the Goblet of Fire, and have almost finished watching The Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah, I think I need to download that one.
Yes, after that, I'm going to be watching the Half-Blood Prince, and after that, the fucking Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, but sadly, I screwed up by downloading a fucked up version of the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Yeah, the link, the version I downloaded was only 30 minutes long. Fucking stupid, I should have checked it. But I downloaded the entirety of the second part of the movie.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to need to do that tonight. I think that's what I'm going to need to do. I can't really, because my memory is a little bit fuzzy. I mean, it's a little bit fuzzy on even the first 4 movies, and I just recently saw them. I start to mix things together a little bit, which makes it a little bit hard to decipher if I want to talk about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download those ones tonight. Maybe I'll catch one of them tonight. And then if you want, we can do another chat about it, but I'm definitely going to try and do. Yeah, and then I'm definitely going to try and do another movie about it. But I have a friend coming by in like 10 minutes. So I'm going to end this one here. Thanks for coming. I don't know what happened to you. I was like, Travis. Okay, I'm going to start. You can just show up whenever you want. But you know what we should do? Because your mic works really great. We should just have a conversation one day that has nothing to do with Harry Potter. Like, we should just do a hangout.
Yeah, that'd be quite a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then we can, like, get into some shit if you're comfortable, because I know that, like, you know, your life has been pretty crazy. So we'll talk about that.
Quite a fucked up ride.
Yeah. So why don't we talk about that? Like, I'll talk to you about that in DMs, and we can kind of figure out what we want to talk about, because, like, I think your story would be interesting to talk about because it's really fucking insane. And then, yeah, we can just go from there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay.
Of the Harry Potter movies, I reckon there should at least be 1 or 2 more. Like one, like the first one should be a prequel to the entire Harry Potter series. So you'll get to learn about Harry's parents and all the other characters that join up in the Order of the Phoenix. And how the how Voldemort had recruited the Death Eaters. And the other movie would be regarding Harry and his child and stuff. it's quite interesting to see Harry become like an aura or something like that, like be hired by the Ministries of Magic and to be trained by Alistair Moody to be the next aura.
I
Because Harry's
wonder.
definitely got the talent.
Yeah, is he? Have you seen Fantastic Beasts or whatever the fuck it's called?
Sally, I haven't. Think I'll have to buy the DVDs.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either. I kind of lost interest in Harry Potter after the 7th film, so that's my issue. But okay, we'll catch up in the next couple days, and then I'll have you on for just a regular hangout. And then after I watch the movies, we'll maybe do another Harry Potter one, yeah?
Sweet.
All right, Travis, thanks for coming.
No worries.
All right, love you.
A lot of fun.
Bye.
Bye.